Yo, so I just got a random urge to make this video, something I was thinking about, um, because I was thinking about how people are always talking about basically the whole argument about there's so much evil in the world and where's God at. And I don't know, I was thinking about how, people don't like the idea of, the poor people being rich in faith and they're actually wealthy in the eyes of God. That sounds like a flim flam. That sounds like which I know that I use that word a lot, but it's just a really good word for scam. So it sounds like a flim flam with something to keep poor people from being poor and rich people being rich. And, just by saying like that whole thing. And um, my brain just suddenly was like, who wants to do well here? Like, who wants to do well here? Like, you're gonna die. Everyone has died. You're gonna die. Some people even die sooner than they anticipate. Like, a lot of people do. Why do you want to just do well here? And you want to fight tooth and nail and screech and yell and raise your fist at God about your measly 62 years? Like, that doesn't even make sense. This place is trash. Why do you want to do well here? Like, of course, in the immediate, yeah, you don't want to struggle. Okay, no one likes to struggle, and I am blessed, and I'm glad, and I'm really glad that God made the decision, and hopefully, I had something to do with that. That I live so far in my current state a relatively blessed life. I would say this is on average what people would like to live. They just want their little piece of, whatever, and they want to go about their life. Um, have a small circle and just work a job, have a family, and just go genuinely unbothered. Okay, that's not heaven, folks. It's not even close. It's not even close. And then I heard something the other day as a TikTok or something. I don't think I clicked on it, but I remember the caption was something like, "No one can, no one can make $1 billion morally. Like, there's no, there's no person on this earth making $1 billion or more that has done so completely ethically. Like, there's no ethical way to make that much money." And I'm inclined to agree. For the most part, if you're making that kind of money, I mean, the railroad's already been made, the car's already been made, um, electricity's already been figured out and should probably be free. Like, there's no oil, there's no major discoveries that should have you just ethically coming across that much money anymore. Um, there's stories that, there's the lore of Microsoft and all these, tech people that started in their garage. Everyone started in their garage. But, and that's a story that we all can live with. But I think on some level, we all know that, even if that was true, you started in your garage and then, the Illuminati came and got you because now you're making billions of dollars. Like, and they didn't kill you and just take your company and make it what they wanted. So if you're still ahead of said company, then you are also probably doing major crimes against humanity. Okay, we know that and we feel that. What is that telling us? Is that telling us that some people would say, like, God isn't real, but this place literally can't function without good? There needs to be some good in it. What's more likely is that Satan is in charge of the world in its current state. If that sounds weird, or that sounds like, why would Satan be in charge of something, or why would Satan even exist? It's like, this is, you're not, you need to reconcile these things. It doesn't make sense for this place to be the only place. It's not the only place, first of all. Everybody kind of knows that. The only reason why you don't know that for sure, I mean, I don't know, there's lots of people now who are dying and coming back. But if you die, you don't come back, you got nothing for anybody. You can't tell anybody anything. So you got to either believe the people who did die and saw what they saw, or you just got to just go off of your instinct. So we've got this world that's kind of okay, kind of not. You're kind of okay, but kind of not. You can't, to have the most ultimate success in this world, you gotta sort of be on the dark side. I think that whoever posted that was kind of going off of like, if you're making that much money, you're just, there's everyone's still thinking of the money as like this limited resource thing. And if you've got so much of it, no one else has any. It's like, okay, value can be made. Like, it's not, and they're printing money, so that's not even the thing. But like, there's no limit on the amount of value that you can bring to a table. So if you're valuable enough that, I always used to say, like, I wouldn't even want money. I would want, something like influence or something like, even if you're famous, that can get you free stuff, that can get you around life. Like, the money is another version of that. It's just like the thing that people prefer to get paid in because you can get other stuff with it. But like, value itself, like, if you're valuable in a certain way, you can live. But the thing is, people are, worship money. So if that's what you have, then that's going to get you the most thing. But like, if people didn't worship money, then money wouldn't be the thing that we're talking about. But yes, I agree that if you're making that much money in the world, what is that telling you? At the height, at the most advanced level of this world is evil. What is that telling you? And a lot of people will take it to this place. It's like, well, we need to like abolish the evil, and there's so many more of us than there is of them, and we just need to rise up. And that is just, it's just a distracting. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. Like, everyone, like, the reason why you're not going to do that is because you have a sin nature. This is why you have to have the paradigm of the Bible. The Bible knows you have a sin nature. All anyone needs to do is offer you something that you want, that your sin nature wants, and you'll sit down. That is how the devil is able to conquer. That's why the Bible says that Satan is the god of this world. Not because he's super powerful and amazing. It's because we're compromised. And now he has a thing that he can not really blackmail us with, but it's just like, he's got this sliver of us, not even a sliver, it's like a whole half of us that he can control, because now we're dying and we're dead and we're cut off from God. So this place it's not even worth getting world peace here. Why would you get world peace at a manure farm? Like, just do your time so you can leave. Do your time so you can leave. So the poor people are rich in faith. Deal with it. The poor people are the people that God loves. Deal with it. The abused people are a shoe in. Deal with it. That's called balance and everything being in its proper place. You really think that just like the rich get to do whatever they want and people just get abused and they fall through the cracks and then that's it? Is that what you're mad about? Like, God's got this thing figured out. He's got it figured out. You're more likely to be a sane person if you're not doing well here, honestly. And am I doing well here? Yes, but a lot of it is my perception. A lot of people would, there's people that would tell me that I'm not doing well here, that I could be doing better. That whatever. It's just like a lot of when God blesses you on this earth and gives you just sort of a problem free life, a lot of it is your perception and the way that God can bless you by you knowing what to value. So if you know to value peace over prosperity, or this over that, or this over that, and you're living a life, you got a roof over your head and you got this and that, but you're not being bothered. You're never going to be rich. No one's ever going to promote you, but everyone's eating. It's like when you can have thankfulness and gratitude and all these things, like you're doing better than a lot of rich people. Like there's so much to it that I don't know. I think the programming is dumbing us down, like what we're watching, because we spend a lot of time watching things, and the stories are not putting in the vegetables. It's not giving you the nutrients. Like I watched this show. I was watching this show called Beef, that like just won an Emmy, and like I'm real behind on my TV stuff. Like I used to be like way into like the best shows, and I don't know, everything just kind of fell off. I got older, blah blah blah. So I watched this show that everybody was talking about, and it was good. I liked it, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched something like that. Like watched a show, and like I don't know. I felt like weird afterwards. It felt like I ate like something with like too much grease or something. Like it just residually felt weird. I was like, oh, I don't think I can do that anymore. But yeah, but I did enjoy it. But it was just interesting. It's that same, and it's because the people who write these things, a lot of them, most of them, all of them, they're not believers. They're not, who knows where they're getting there, whatever. And a lot of them are just copying things that have been done, blah, blah, blah. But at the very end, it's like the whole show is about these two characters that basically spend the entire show like retaliating against one another. And it reminded me of this thing that I read in college. I can't remember, but it's like an old Indian, maybe it's not old, but it was an Indian story of these two neighbors that like spent the entire story like sort of getting revenge on each other, and at the end they just sort of like apologize to each other. Like it gets really really bad, like they lose all their property and all that stuff. So it was a really impactful story. I don't remember who wrote it or anything, but I just remember reading it and it was really good. But so it was kind of that type of vibe, and by the end of the story, well, there's like this weird thing. They like eat berries that are like poisonous, and they like hallucinate and whatever. And they're sitting and they're talking about, and of course they're having they're supposed to be having this, transcendent moment, and they're talking about the metaphysics of the world. And of course they conclude that, there can't possibly be a God because everything's terrible. And it's just is so funny, which, of course they're not going to end it like, some way of any type of morality, that's just not the vibe anymore. Everything's got to be like postmodern. So, they would never end that story like the Indian story, which is a modern story. We're too far from that. So, they basically just apologized to each other, and after they had nothing, and they didn't do that. They just blamed God for the whole thing, and then they moved on with their lives. And it's just funny because it's just like they clearly, the whole show, you're watching 8 episodes of them bring chaos into each other's lives. Like it's just like hilarious, but not like you did it. You did it. You did it. Like they are literally there. Like the way that they told the story and weaved it together was just a masterful chain of events, domino effect thing that happened that they created. They spent all this time making this story about these two people doing these things to each other and the consequences and the misunderstandings and that caused and blah, blah, blah. Guess what they concluded at the end of it in the woods? eating hallucinogenic berries, that everything, that God isn't really real because look how bad it is. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Um, so they brought that evil into the world and they blamed God for that. And then they were fine. And they just realized they just have to get through it together. And all they have is each other. And, it's just like, it's just amazing how we do this. Like, these are the same people that don't want to believe that, that think that the Bible is here to enslave somebody. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that Satan runs the world by default, because if we were still completely perfect and had not disobeyed God and had not eaten from this tree that caused us to die, he would be a creature in a garden trying to, do something. I don't know. Just trying. He'd just be trying. But because he succeeded, and that right there, like, I think I was talking a little bit about it in the last video, which probably didn't get my point across because it was really rambly, but I don't even remember my point. All I know is I was talking about the Luciferian aspect of the story of the devil or Satan trying to get us to, trying to get the real information to us. Now, the idea, like, what's more likely, that you have a self-sacrificial creature in heaven who is willing to do a suicide mission to save us, or to get us to know something that will also be a suicide mission for us too, because we can't beat God. We can't beat the creator of all the things. But before we die, we're going to know all the stuff that he didn't want us to know, and it will be all worth it. Is it that, or is it everything was perfect and great, and some a-hole in heaven got an idea that he wanted to be God too, and now he's just trying to destroy everything that perfect God loves, and also take control of his stuff by getting us to screw ourselves and be stuck here, and then him, be the default God over us because we are enslaved by our own sinful natures that we were tricked into making ourselves do. Like, which sounds complicated too, but one of those things we see happen all the time, which is people who, are free will that can't be infringed. So people have to manipulate you into doing the things that they want you to do. And they have to lie, and they have to tell you all these things and bribe you and tell you a whole story to get you to do something that they need you to do. That happens all day long. People leading revolts with everything that they have within them for the sake of someone else. That's going to get everyone killed. Like, that's never happened. But we do see God sacrificing himself for us to get something super, super valuable, because that's logical and makes sense to do. It makes sense to, if you can sacrifice yourself, still live on the other end of that, and then everybody that you sacrifice yourself for also lives on the other end of that. That makes sense. That's a good investment. That's you're getting your money's worth out of that. That other thing where you just die in a blaze of glory and kill everybody else, because a mutiny happened, but because you wanted everybody to know what lust is. Like, we didn't need to know this information. I'm not enriched by knowing what evil is. Does anybody feel enriched like by knowing what it's like to tell your parents one thing and then do something else and then sneak back in the house and them never know it. Like, do you feel like you really needed to have that? I feel like I could have lived my whole life just being an innocent person who loved innocent things and was bright-eyed and didn't need to like have a second sense to know when someone was lying to me. I don't feel super smart. I don't feel like pride is just really annoying. It's obnoxious. I hated it in myself. I hated it in other people. Like I did not need this second set of knowledge. Could have gone my whole life without it. So it's not beautiful. I don't want to mix it with my good. It's not adding dimension. Like if it is whatever good it's doing, we will keep and take to the next place. But who knows? Maybe there's something good in it. But more than likely, none of this stuff is going to be remembered. My favorite Jay-Z Kanye song is probably not going to be remembered, and I'm fine with that. I don't need to take that with me. So yeah, that's just the reality, people. Like nobody is really, really thinking this thing through. The furthest people can get is that maybe God isn't real, and I don't know. People are losing their brain wrinkles. Like you can't, especially like that show was just like a huge. It was just like the whole thing was about them doing things to each other that they created that didn't need to be done. And at the end, they just blamed God. Like it was just amazing. Just the complete lack of accountability. It's not even self-awareness. It's just like accountability all the way out the window. Like, they acknowledge a little bit. Obviously, they did things to each other, but as far as like ultimately all of that they brought into the world, it was like it doesn't matter anyway because God doesn't exist. Because look how bad it is. like who would make this? Like it's just, oh man. So I don't know. I just had that thought. The original thought was just like, who would want to rectify this thing? It's broke. Who wants to be mad? Who wants to complain to management about this place? You're not even going to be here for that long. Just like write your review after you get to where you're going. Like, why are you blaming God now? I don't know. It just is silly. Like, it's not, if God came and like, it just would be so temporary. Why would you want God to come and like fix this place? Like, so that you can die? Maybe it's just like, I don't want to go through anything bad at all, which I can appreciate, I guess. But, you don't want to go through anything bad. And it's like, if you really don't want to go through anything bad, then follow God and follow his laws. Well, I'm not about to do all of these extra things. It's like, okay, well then there's nothing we can do. Like if you really don't want to go through anything bad, and that sounds like, well, you can't promise that, blah, 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 blah. You can. But what I'm saying is, even when you like, I've gone through bad stuff. I don't remember that stuff. And like, part of that is my personality. Part of that is like, have you noticed? It's like, this is what keeps people in bad relationships is because you adapt to the circumstances. Like, because you're made to do that. You heal, you adapt, you get comfortable in whatever circumstance that you're in. So use that for something good. Don't use that for, if you get in a super, super great situation and you adapt and now that situation is boring, now you need more, that's terrible. So use it for something where it can actually serve you. Go through something hard. Go join the military and have it be terrible and have it be, where you want to cry, and then adapt and then get better. Even if you leave that place and go, that place was not for me, you're left with some skills, I promise you. Don't don't take those skills to some place where, now you're bored to death and now you need, but now you need more time off, because now, all that time off you had before is like, now that's just going by so fast because you've adapted to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get wisdom, if you have you can live a life that you perceive, because that's really what we're talking about here. You perceive as, it's pretty good. And, people are the king and queen of looking back at people's lives who are over and done with, which I just really think is really disrespectful. And, there's something, you're doing something, you're really crossing a line when you are judging people. It's like those people's lives are over and done with. And if the last thing they had to say about their life, that, it was a good life, believe them. They know what they're talking about. They lived the life. They lived the whole thing. And you're like, yeah, those people were delulu. It's like, well, you saying that is not a good sign. You putting in your opinion on people's lives that are dead and gone and have been lived, and you're like in the first quarter of yours, is already just a red flag that maybe no one should be listening to what you're saying. So, I don't know. It started as one thing, but I forgot. I don't know. I feel like I said it already, so it's probably fine. And there was something I was supposed to say in my other video that I forgot about too. I didn't think they were going to be related in any way, so I just didn't even think about it. Oh, I will tell you one thing, because every once in a while, I'm pretty much over this whole Satan Guides to the Bible thing, but there's still some things that stick in my mind, and it makes me upset. But I was thinking about that stupid thing about Daniel and how Daniel was written 400 years earlier, which is so stupid. But it's even more especially stupid because literally the only reason why he had to come up with an explanation it was like they were trying to come up with an explanation as to why Daniel was so accurate as far as the prophecies. No one cares. No one cares if the prophecies are accurate. He acted like he had to gatekeep for people who might be like, uh-oh, how did Daniel get so accurate? Let's all believe God now because it's so accurate. That's not going to be the linchpin. There's no need to freaking just bend it till it breaks about Daniel being born 400 years before everything. Because then I read Ezekiel the other day. This is why, you can't just be lying on the Bible like this. Because if we all agree that Ezekiel is in its proper spot in history, and it should be because it is talking specifically about certain contexts, guess who it mentions? Daniel, and Noah, and Job. Because God says if Daniel himself, if Noah himself, if Job himself was in this city, they could only save themselves. They couldn't even save their own children. That's how bad the wickedness is. So Ezekiel knew of Daniel. And here's the thing. Everyone's cross-referencing everyone all the time. So these are not isolated books. So you think you can rip one book out and do something. You're not doing nothing. Because they're constantly weaving in and out of each other because it's all the same story ultimately. So now you're going to have to say, oh, Ezekiel was born even before that or even after that, because now Ezekiel's got to be 600 years before actual Ezekiel, which makes no sense. Now it's just stupid. You could say that about one. You could spread a rumor about one, but now you got to say that Ezekiel was also, and Ezekiel is literally just prophecies of stuff that either already happened or, I don't know, a lot of that stuff is distant future stuff like Daniel. And that's another thing, because Daniel's got some visions about the distant future. It literally says that. And he's like, what am I even looking at right now? And God says, just Don't worry about it. This is for the distant future. You're gonna be long gone before any of this happens. So if anything in that Daniel starts popping up, you got nothing. You're back to zero. All right, I'm done talking about that stupid video. And yeah, I'm sad Jubilees is over. I think I'm gonna start Enoch. I've read Enoch before, but only on audio. I've read it like 2 times. I feel like I'll get some like deep stuff if I just like read it, sit and read it. So that might be my next thing. Let me see if Enoch is long. Oh, okay. So Jubilees was only 50, but they were really like genuine, meaty chapters. And Enoch is 108 chapters, but some of them are literally like a paragraph. So who knows? It might be about the same. Now I just got to go by book thickness. Let's look at the thickness. Okay, yeah, I think Enoch is still way smaller. So that should be a breeze. I should be able to finish that in one video. Do one video about Enoch. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's all for now. Bye.